Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. And I see today we're going to start off on the west coast of America, out in California, where we have a few results to report from the Fantasy Springs Casino in California. Promoter Oscar De La Hoya presented in the main event, previously unbeaten Manny Flores, who was upset by the stronger Walter Santibanes, reports Ken Eisner out of BoxingNews24.com. In the co-feature, former featherweight world champion Helena Mrnjavčević won an unpopular majority decision over Calista Cali Salgado over their 10 rounds. It's interesting to note, shall we say, in this particular case, I'm reporting on this, not simply because of the victory of the main event, but in the co-feature, former feather world champ Helena Mrnjavčević. She's 42-12-2, by the way, but she's out of Red River, Canada, and although she won what he is reporting as an unpopular majority decision over the upset-minded Calista Cali Salgado, by the way, 21-17-4, who was fighting out of Colorado. Let's just recap it. In the first round, wild swinging Salgado made a fight of it, while Mrnjavčević countered well, with Salgado landing a punch after the bell. In the second round, Mrnjavčević was more aggressive, taking the round, and was the one hitting after the bell. In the third round, Salgado rocked Mrnjavčević in the final minute with a left hook to the chin. In the fifth round, Mrnjavčević continued to use her jab, while Salgado swung wild overhand rights, landing one near the end of the round. In the sixth round, Mrnjavčević started using her rights to even things up. And in the eighth round, final seconds, Salgado rocked Mrnjavčević with a left hook to the chin. And in the ninth round, Salgado came on looking for a knockout, swinging wildly with Mrnjavčević jabbing and grabbing. In the 10th and final round, Mrnjavčević was warned by referee Jerry Cantu for holding. A clash of heads in the final minute caused a small cut on the forehead of Mrnjavčević. Salgado did well enough, though, to take care of the round and earn a draw against the 40-year-old former champ. However, the scores were 95-95, 97-93, and 96-94. And there you go. Mrnjavčević takes the win. Anyway, just thought I'd let you know, because we hardly ever talk about female fighters, especially veterans like her, who comes out of the west coast of, well, not the west coast of Canada, but the western provinces of Canada to fight on the west coast in California. Speaking of California, there was another fight. Englebrecht Promotions and Events returned to the hangar at the OC Fair and Events Center in Costa Mesa, California, for yet another sellout show. And we'll be talking about selling out, and not in a negative way, but selling tickets to events, courtesy of Mike Tyson and his comments. Setting the night apart from most other nights was the fact that three of the fighters were making their pro debuts. So even with, shall we say, a rookie lineup, they managed to sell out. So opening the show was Riverside Eric Valdeva against Whistler's Jose Gonzalez in a middleweight competition. Huntington Beach Nick Olson took on Valencia's debuting Casamuna Spurts at a welterweight division. Riverside's debuting Nate Palencia took on veteran Edgar Bram out of Tijuana in a super lightweight boxing event. And closing out the show was Tequila Mandela Young champions bout. Jose El Chingon Hueto, 2-4, out of Bell Gardens, took on Carlos Alizeraz, 2-3-1, in a 3-round bantamweight MMA bout. Wow, little combo MMA and boxing going on in California last night. All righty, let's move along to Jaime Munguia, former WBO super welterweight champ, looking to take on this weekend. Well, if he wins, he's looking to take on the Golovkins and the Charlos of the world. But he's taking on Let's see if I can pronounce this properly. Sergey Derevyanchenko. So they're gonna face off at the Toyota Arena over in California, airing on the Zone. What I want to talk about, however, is not their particular fight, but in fact the undercard, where we're going to see Shane Mosley Jr. take on Demetrius Ballard in a super middleweight clash. We're also going to see Mariana Juarez take on Mayela Flores in a super bantamweight clash. We're going to see Mariana, I just mentioned that. Mariana Juarez, who's facing Mayela Flores. Juarez, by the way, 55, 12, and 4. And she turned pro back in 1998. Wow. And she's still going at it. Rafael Sandoval versus Rocco Santamario in the flyweight division. Jorge Chavez and Christian Lorenzo going toe-to-toe. Antonio Saldivar taking on Jerome Clayton in a super welterweight battle. Then let's have a quick look at the Munguia-Derevyanchenko battle. As I said, that's taking place on Saturday, June 10th. Main card is at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Munguia versus Derevyanchenko takes place on June 10th. Main card starts at 8 p.m. I just said all that. Both main event fighters should make their way to the ring around 11:15 p.m. Eastern Time. That doesn't make sense either. Or 8:15 Pacific Time. So I believe the main card actually starts at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, I believe. Anyway, of course, that all depends on how long the undercard fight lasts. So anyway, DAZN has that on their broadcast. So you might want to check it out. Don King's been promoting Return to Glory for a couple of weeks, and we have featured Adrien Broner several times, mentioned his comeback trail, mentioned his fitness regimen, and gotta say, he's looking good. The weigh-ins showed him quite buffed. And he is, as we all know, a 4-division world champion. And he's returning to the ring at Casino Miami in Miami, Florida, to face William Hutchison, who has not lost in 7 years, by the way. So Don King has his hands full. It's going to be a great fight. He's got a good undercard as well, a light heavyweight title fight featuring a 2-division world champ and 2-time Olympic gold medalist Guillermo Rogindo, featured on a stacked card, as I said. Speaking of stacked cards, we're going to take a look at Sonny Edwards and Edwards-Campos. Well, we're not going to take a look at them. We're going to talk about them for a brief moment. They both weighed in and were well under the flyweight limit for their 12-round IBF title fight, but they are not the only title fight that's happening over at the OVO Arena in Wembley. I wanted to mention on the undercard, we have some young ladies taking part in the fight. Melbourne's Chernika Johnson, one of my favorites, 15-1, attempts the second defense of her IBF junior featherweight title, but enters as the underdog as she faces Ellie Scottney, 6-0, out of London. Nina Hughes, 5-0, weighed in at 117 pounds for the first defense of her WBA bantamweight title, which she claimed in an upset 10-round win over Jamie Mitchell last November in Dubai. By the way, the 40-year-old mother of 2 from Essex will face Wolverhampton's Katie Healy, who's also 6-0 and weighed in at 113 pounds for her first title challenge, by the way. And the other than, I want to just mention quick here, among the fellows who are fighting, Siobhan Clark is fighting. He's undefeated, 5-0 as well, taking on David Jameson, who's 10-2 out of Scotland. But I wanted to mention Shannon Ryan, 4-0 out of Herefordshire. She's taking on Martina Baril, 5-1-1, who weighed out of Italy, who weighed in 114 pounds for their junior bantamweight fight. That's going to look. Oh, didn't notice this actually. Muhammad Ali, 1-0 out of Leicestershire. taking on Brian Castro, 2-5-1 out of Spain in a 4-round featherweight. Anyway, good clashes all around, but I wanted to make mention of the women who were taking part of that fight on the undercard. Sonny Edwards and Edwards-Campos been chit-chatting all week long, so that's going to be a good fight for sure. And we look forward also to seeing the results of that undercard, as I said. Now, speaking of fights and fighters that we hardly ever mention, but used to in the past, we finally got some news out of Nigeria. Hard-hitting. Let me put on my glasses for this one. The report comes in quite small text. Hard-hitting Oluwatosin Tosin Kajawa and 2022's Commonwealth silver medalist Elizabeth Oshoba retained their unbeaten records as they both dealt with their respective opponents with ease. And this fight took place, I believe, must have been 2 months ago, actually. But anyway, Nielsen's boxing undefeated Nigerian boxers continued to impress after delivering impressive performances at London's iconic York Hall last week. Wow. Super middleweight Kajawa, now 8-0, displayed a mature and composed performance that saw him win every round against experienced Serhii Shadentov. Promoter Mark Nielsen said, Shadentov is an experienced fighter and has scored a few knockout upsets, so we knew Tosin had to stay focused. We saw 4 more measured performances time out, and it's clear to see he's listening to his coach and is improving each fight. Meanwhile, featherweight Elizabeth Oshoba delivered an outstanding performance as well, showcasing the talent that took her to a silver medal in last year's Commonwealth Games. Her opponent, Kirsty Hill, an experienced amateur and formerly undefeated professional, was her toughest test, but was outclassed by the speed and quality of Elizabeth's work. Hill showed a great engine, but this wasn't enough as Elizabeth was taken to the 6 rounds for the first time in her career with now a record of 4-0 and 3 knockouts, by the way. Promoter Nielsen said titles won't be too far away. Manager Sean Murray said, I'm proud of them both. They're 100% committed, are miles away from home and their family, but are completely dedicated to going as far as they can. I'm sure they'll both be fighting for titles this year. They're starting to get noticed, and there's some big fights ahead for both of them. So good news out of Nigeria via York Hall in London, featuring Elizabeth Oshoba and Tosin Kajawa. Let's move on to the closing story of the day, where we see Mike Tyson had some words for us. Heavyweight boxing legend Mike Tyson has labeled one man the best fighter in the world, but said that in today's climate, he will always struggle to attract big crowds. In an interview, Iron Mike looked back on the days of Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran, the faces of the sport, when he burst onto the scene in the 1980s, claiming that the pair set a new precedent that allowed fighters to become household names. Tyson went on to point out that the modern era of the sport was different. It's not enough just to be the best pound-for-pound fighter. A strong presence and following on social media is necessary in order to sell tickets. And he used welterweight champion Terence Crawford as an example of a great smaller man who wasn't a big draw. Sugar Ray Leonard, he said, made it possible for us to get that big money because there were little guys making big money, making 15, 18 million. There were little guys, 147 pounds. Nobody did that until him and Duran. People that are small don't make any money like that anymore. It just doesn't happen. Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world, and he can't sell 5,000 tickets. Then you get Ryan Garcia, a video guy, who brings in a whole arena. Despite Tyson's comments, Crawford is set for a large payday in his highest profile clash to date, where he takes on longtime rival, we're all looking forward to this one, Errol Spence Jr. this summer for the undisputed welterweight title. According to ESPN, both men will receive a guaranteed 8-figure purse for the first fight, which is with a bi-directional rematch clause, meaning that the pair are likely to each receive upwards of $20 million across the 2-fight deal. Crawford will put his WBO world title on the line in an attempt to claim Spence's 3 other belts at the weight on July 29th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. And so there you have it, boxing fans. Appreciate you joining me. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll see you later on at 4 p.m. when I join Mike Orr and Cedric Ben for their show Knuckle Up. And depending on circumstances such as traffic today, I hope to see you at 7 p.m. when I join the crew for the Friday night panel at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you very much. And as I said, we'll see you later on.